All right, so we are working on, I sent this to you. What is a memoir? You can tell me what a memoir is. So you see the life and times of Lily. Memoir of a Mutt by Lily. What is a memoir? That's quite a title. Owen.
Like a memory of being a mutt?
That is a very good start. So you get memoir, memory, very good. So it could be a memory. A memoir is a story told by somebody. So what is unusual about a memoir of a mutt by Lily? Who's Lily? We learn who Lily is. The life and times of Lily. So who's writing this? Supposedly. Toby. Who's Lily? The dog. Do dogs write memoirs?
No.
Not one that I know of, but you just never know. But this story is written by Lily. And she is a mutt. What is a mutt? Not a, I don't know. Yes, Grayson.
Like some sort of a dog.
Some kind, yes. Yes, so when you hear the word mutt, what do you think of? Do you think of a fancy, highly bred dog that's very fancy and expensive?
No, definitely not like a poodle.
Like a poodle would not be a mutt. Certain breeds. A mutt is a dog that has no specific breed. So I have a golden retriever. He's 100% golden retriever, so he wouldn't be a mutt. Now my cats, if cats could be mutts, they're mutts because we rescued them. So they don't really have a specific breed. So a mutt is a dog that has multi-breeds, and they aren't a purebred. So that is the difference between a mutt and a purebred. They're both perfectly awesome. There's nothing different, unless you're going to show them. Have anyone ever seen one of the Westminster dog shows? Fancy schmancy. Those are purebred dogs that you show in a dog show. Get the best of show, and you get all these fancy dogs. That is not a mutt. All right, so that's the difference. So then you think, okay, so this is a pretty normal dog writing her memoirs. Why is that unusual? Why is that unusual? Jonathan. Yeah, so I'm noticing that the dog is writing it, and I'm noticing that, just by my own, who has a dog? Who has a dog at home? Raise your hand if you have a dog. Have you ever seen your dog write a memoir? So you have that direct correlation or understanding or connection that dogs don't generally write memoirs. All right, so let's start. I am not a spoiled pup. And I'll yap at you if you say that I am spoiled. I'm very, very cute and also cuddly. And the people I live with practically trip over themselves catering to my every whim. Okay, so what are you noticing with that? She's saying she's not spoiled, but then she's saying that all her needs are catered to. What do you think of when you hear that? So, she's saying, I am not a spoiled pup. Everyone in my house trips over themselves catering to my every whim or my every need. Does that sound like a spoiled pup? Yeah. It kind of does. So, what is true? We're going to find out what is true. There's no little house in the backyard or crate in the kitchen for me to sleep in. Oh no. I put my pretty little head down each night between two king-size pillows on little Caitlin's bed. And most of the time, I leave room for Caitlin. Two princesses, her mom and dad say, when they tuck us in each night and turn out the light. What are you noticing here, friends? What are you noticing? Are things adding up? So, if things adding up when she says, I am, circle or underline, I am not a spoiled pup. Underline that, please. In your story, underline, I am not a spoiled pup. Now, circle anything that I just read that does not support that she is not a spoiled pup. So if you think she's spoiled, circle details that indicate she's spoiled. So I'm going to put, for an example, there's no little house in the backyard or crate in the kitchen for me to sleep in. I'm going to underline that because that is telling me she gets to sleep inside with the people. So I'm underlining, or I'm circling that. What else would you circle to indicate that she indeed is spoiled? What other detail? Emmy. What's that? Yeah. She sleeps, she says, oh no, I put my pretty little head down each night between two king-size pillows on Caitlin's bed. Does that sound like a spoiled pup?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And then what else, what does mom and dad call her and Caitlin every night before she goes to bed? Helen. Two princesses. And then I like how she says, I leave room for Caitlin too. So do you, when you hear that, do you think she's a big dog or a little dog? She says, I leave room for Caitlin too. James. All right, so let's underline that and put a question mark by it. Because we don't know. So put a question mark. All right, remember, this is all, we're going by the title. Mainly by when she says she's a mutt. So now we are going through and we're trying to find clues. So when you take your test, this is what you're going to have to do. So this is what, friends, I'm teaching you little tricks. So if you have, remember, a title is also clues as to what is happening in the story. So as you read this, if something does not add up, circle it or underline it. Go back to it. Although if we're doing it on a computer, you won't be able to do that, but you could always write something on a sheet of paper. All right, let's keep going. The other princess has long black hair and shiny metal things on her teeth. What does that mean? She has black hair and shiny metal things on her teeth. Gabe and Christian, what is this girl wearing in her teeth? Yes. And I only ask you because you are starting to get them, aren't you? Yes. So circle or underline shiny metal things on her teeth. That is a perspective of a dog. I love it. Shiny metal things. My hair is a beautiful apricot color, and my teeth work fine just the way they are. I don't need any shiny things to fix my teeth. Maybe my teeth work too well. Caitlin's mom is always telling me, don't chew the woodwork, Lily. Don't chew the chair leg, Lily. Mom has so many rules. All right, so what do you notice about anything unusual, interesting about that? So what color, let's start, what color of fur does Lily have? Helen? Apricot color. So underline that. Now we're going to try to discern. Remember, we had put a question mark about by what? Is she a big dog or a little dog? Are there any indications in that paragraph that will give us any indication of that? Not really. We just know that her color of her fur is apricot, or she calls it hair. So she actually has fur, doesn't she? So, what about rules? Do most dogs and people have to follow rules? Now, does she like to follow the rules? No. What is her... How do you feel that Lily thinks about the rules? Is she acting like a spoiled puppy, or is she acting like a dog who understands that they have guidelines and rules? How does she feel about the rules? Owen. So you think that, so underline, Mom has too many rules. So what is she chewing? Tessa. The chair leg. And what else is she? So she's chewing the chair leg, and what else? Jeremiah. Woodwork. Whoops. I had a dog who used to do that when he was a puppy. I wonder if she's a puppy. Her worst rule is that I am not allowed to eat people food. Who has a dog? Raise your hand again. Do you allow your dog to sit at the table with you and eat people food? You have a dog? I thought you had a cat. Oh, I know you had a dog. So who lets their dog eat people food? Raise your hand if you allow your dog to eat people food while you are eating at the dinner table. Does Mom and Dad say you can give your dog people food?
Mrs. Reed.
Yes.
I like how Lily puts it like people food.
People food. Now, okay, let's finish this. The worst rule is that I'm not allowed to eat people food. The people in my family get good stuff out of the oven that looks yummy and smells great too. But I, on the other hand, or other paw, as someone of my species would say, I get mystery mush out of a can that reads Elpo. But you didn't know I can read. I bet you didn't know I could read, did you? But how could I write if I couldn't read? Ooh, good point. All right, so the people don't let her eat people food. She gets to eat Elpo. So does that sound like a spoiled pup? Not so much. I would say that would be more of a normal, although it sounds like a lot of you, or it looks like a lot of you, let your dog eat people food. Yeah. It's hard not to once in a while. I mean, what happens though if you give your dog people food all the time? What happens when you step in the kitchen or start sitting down and eating dinner? Who is at your feet begging? Profusely, with slobber coming out of the mouth. Owen. Yeah, Yeti, or Axel, or Copper, or Roger, or Liberty, or one of the dogs is going to come and stare at you with those pathetically sad-looking eyes, begging for your food. Jeremiah.
Liberty and Sadie, when we eat at the dining chair as a family, they're right under the table all night begging for food.
Yes. And is that annoying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially when you have two dogs.
Yes, and they're not little dogs. You got big dogs.
Liberty's only 2 years old and she's up to my weight.
Yeah, she's a big girl. So, it is so easy to spoil your dog or your cat. But then you have to deal with the begging and the slobbering and the drooling and the pathetic eyes. Please, can I have that?
Yeah.
Or I step in the kitchen and there's Axel staring at me with his cute little face, his tail wagging. So that, friends, is an example of a spoiled pup. So, with that said, Lily is kind of on, I don't know, let's put a question mark by this paragraph. Is she spoiled? I don't know. A toss-up. Now, I would say yes, she's spoiled that she gets to sleep in the bed and might leave room for her owner. Let's turn the page. Yes.
Sometimes if I want to do something, I do the dog eyes to my mom, and my mom said it's not gonna work.
Yes. Helen.
Whenever cause last night we were eating spaghetti, and Marcus came up in the kitchen, and I was giving him like little pieces of spaghetti, and here comes Roger, and he's like trying to jump on my face. Because like
Well, if you're giving one some spaghetti, you need to give Roger some. That's only fair. All right, let's turn the page. Anyway, Mom's rules about me not getting people food is not fair. Oh, so I whimper and whine every night at supper time. But then Dad says, hush, Lily, or I'll put you in Caitlin's room until dinner is over. Then I quiet down and hide under the table. I curl up my furry, 5-pound body. Please underline that. 5-pound body into a quiet little ball and pretend to be asleep. All right, so what question have we answered? Is Lily a big dog or a little dog? 5-pound body. Is that big or little?
big.
I guess it depends on if she's an adult or a puppy, but I'm assuming if she's writing a memoir, she's an adult. So what do you think, big or little dog? Little. 5 pounds is not very much. Yeti probably weighs much more than that.
She was 13.
Yes, and she's still a pup. So Lily is not a big dog. So underline that. We know that. But really, I'm waiting for someone to drop something tasty. Boy, do I know that. Who can relate to that with you? If you have a dog, can you relate to the fact that they curl up? Jeremiah, you already indicated that your dogs, Sadie and Liberty, do it and wait for something to drop on the floor.
Everything with the dog.
Yes. Now, when we had our first golden, Riley, he would always position himself near or under the children's high chair or chair because he knew there would be lots of morsels to eat. They know. I bet you Yeti will learn quickly to hide under your brother's high chair or chair.
Yeti just sits right next to them because she knows you're going to make her sit, so she just sits right away
And waits. And waits for something to fall. Absolutely. Dogs are very smart. So, do you think Lily is smart? That is the next question. I mean, obviously, if she's writing a memoir, she's smart. But let's look for more clues to find proof of that. But really, okay, and if I'm patient, I almost always get lucky. Last night I got a French fry. The night before that I got a bit of chicken. There's always a little bit of food falling somewhere near the table. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
And after dinner, Dad sometimes gives me a doggy treat. But I usually have to work much too hard for it. All right, so underline, I have to work much too hard for it. let's find out just how hard she has to work, if that is true or not. Here's what I mean. One night, Dad seemed determined to teach me to sit. But I already know perfectly well how to sit. I just don't like to do it when he wants me to. No, that sounds much more like a cat. So before he would give me a doggy treat that night, he began telling me, "Sit, Lily, sit." He said this in a very commanding tone, over and over again. But I just stood there, pretending not to know what he wanted me to do. Oh, I knew what he wanted me to do, all right. Okay, so let's underline all of that. But I just stood there pretending. Circle the word pretending. Not to know what he wanted me to do. And then underline the rest of the I. Oh, I knew what he wanted me to do, all right. Does that sound like a intelligent dog? No. Yes. He already knows what, but she is thinking, I don't want to do that. The next part is extremely funny. But that kitchen tile was way too cold and much too hard for my Pomeranian backside. Roger! Circle Pomeranian. Now we know for sure what kind of dog Lily is. She's got apricot fur. She weighs 5 pounds. And she is a Pomeranian. So do we know for sure she's a little dog?
Yeah.
Yes. She's a very cute, fluffy one if she's as cute as Roger. So Roger is a Pomeranian, just so you know. But Dad just won't give up. All right, so that whole part, we are seeing that Lily, A, understands people's commands, knows exactly what they want to do. Is she choosing not to do it?
Yeah.
So is that showing you that Lily is smart?
Yeah.
Yes. So right near that, in that paragraph, on the side, write, Lily is smart. Lily is smart. All right. Now this is funny too. Watch me, he finally sighed. And so I watched while he climbed down onto that cold, hard tile and crawled toward me on all fours. So can you envision this?
Yes.
There he was, this big bald man actually demonstrating to me how to sit doggy style. It was very funny. So I said, woof, woof, woof. And Dad answered, but I didn't quite catch what he said. All right. So, do you think Lily ever sat for Dad?
No.
I kind of doubt it, because I think she's too smart. What? So have you ever done anything silly for your dog?
No. Yeah. Not my dog, but yeah. Yes.
Yes, we have all, for the love of our dog, done silly things. So, final question after reading all this. Is Lily a mutt? Remember, a mutt is a dog that doesn't have any breed. It's just could be a mixed breed. We know Pomeranians are a purebred, so Lily is not a mutt. She is a Pomeranian. And she said, I am not a spoiled pup. Is she a spoiled pup?
Yes.
Yes. But in a good way. I mean, she's loved. Can you ever spoil your dog too much?
Yes.
You can. Jeremiah.
Liberty's a mutt.
Yes. And you know what? I have had, our first golden was a purebred. I mean, very highly purebred, and he had so many health issues. So sometimes having a mutt is a healthier dog. Not so much inbreeding. Tyson.
I have a mutt. It's a mixed breed.
Yes. Grayson.
My dog is a mutt.
Yep.
Ribsy.
Dogs are awesome. All right, this is what I'm going to have you do. guess we can't break into our groups.
10:37.
I know, but Mrs. Cochran isn't.
10:37.
Bummer. All right, so we will break into this other group next Monday, which is, I will write myself a note and you guys will go Monday. I can't break into groups because I can't leave the rest of you in here by yourself. The anarchy, I tell you.
We have a dance party, that's why.
A dance party. That sounds fun, actually. You guys will have to think about what. I am going to see Mrs. Chrysler today after school. I'm having dinner with her. So if we need to think about what we're going to do for our next party. So in honor of Mrs. Chrysler, I'm going to put one of the big pom-poms in the jar. Actually, I can't because we lost 2 straws. So maybe on Monday we'll try again. The next day that we go without losing any straws, I'm going to put one of the big pom-poms. So what we need to do, so I can tell Mrs. Chrysler, what do you want to do for your next party?
I want to do the same thing.
We're not going to have another pizza party. We've done that twice. So we could have an ice cream party.
Yeah.